Dear friends, today we are coming back to our studio to speak with Diaspora. They have a great role to play in developing the democracy in our countries and in helping our economies. They are happy as we are when there are positive news about the developments in our countries and the region. And they are sad, and perhaps more sad than we are, when they see that things are not working well, when they don't see progress. Today we are speaking with our first guest, Mr. Avni Dervishi, who is the advisor for international affairs and European integration. He is not with us in the studio. He is going to let us know where he sits currently.
Thank you very much, Astrid. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this interview and to be part of your organization. Thank you.
So can you tell us, where are you right now?
Right now, I'm sitting in Sweden, about 1 hour by train from the capital of Sweden, Stockholm. Pure geographically, I'm somewhere in between Stockholm and Oslo.
Thanks very much, Mr. Dervishi. And I know that you have been working with a lot of commitment to contribute to the developments in the region. We all know that most of you, even though are born elsewhere, not in the region, or are living and working there, your hearts and minds are with us. And so there is no way that we can see a greater progress if there is no contribution, if there is no involvement of diaspora. So what is the role that diaspora really can play in building a new vision for the region?
All right. Firstly, that's a really wide question, and you have to expect me to give a wide answer as well. Well, everyone knows that the Western Balkan countries of Southeastern Europe, should I say, they have a huge diaspora. It's very understandable, the reasonings behind why. Due to the conflicts that happened previously in the history, many people were forced to leave their homes and they escaped to many parts of the world. So they created the diaspora. Due to that, we should think about that we are human beings, so we are getting, certainly I agree with you, we are getting affected about the happenings taking place in the country of origin. And having in mind that, I have to do like this, because having in mind that the Balkan countries are really interconnected to each other, it's impossible that, let's say, something happens in Bosnia doesn't affect the situation in Kosovo or in Serbia or Macedonia or Montenegro for that matter. So having in mind that many of the diaspora people today, they escaped due to conflicts, I should say that there is a diversity among the way the diaspora approach their country of origin as well. And that is the first point. The second one would be that not all the diaspora live in democracies. Certainly us who live in democratic countries, particularly us living in member countries of European Union, we do have a role to play. We could see that with Croatia. Later on, I'm sure we'll go into the details of successful examples of diaspora involvement. For instance, the diaspora of Croatia, they were very much involved on promoting the country's access toward European Union markets, the involvement of the civil society, certainly the political agenda as well. So I hope the rest of the Balkan countries can take Croatia as a role example on when they use the diaspora experts toward the EU integration, because I'm very much sure that all the remaining countries of the Southeastern Europe or Western Balkans, the aim is one day join us in the European family.
And I understand that you have been working with Swedish Parliament in the past. So,
yes.
So how could you practically, change perhaps the perception that people have in there, including the parliamentarians and the government?
It's very good, the question you pointed out, because the way that you explained, there are many, I have to say openly, many political decision makers from the Western Balkan countries, when they come to the EU member countries, the one who promotes enlargement with the Balkan countries, where you're sitting at right now, for instance, they tend to paint a picture of that everything is peace and quiet, everything is functioning in the Western Balkan countries. Almost never they point out the corruption. But however, with me, that was not the case. For me, it was in a way to try to open doors. regardless which political party, any political party, for instance, in the Parliament of Sweden, who were aiming enlargement, who wanted to have more stability and development of the Western Balkan countries, I did approach them. Also, later on, when I worked with diplomacy, you have to open doors. Doesn't mean that you have to open them widely or lock them totally. You can open them a bit, so you know what's going on the other side, and the other side perhaps know what's going on this side. For instance, when I started to work there, I tried to find other people who have origin from the Western Balkan countries, and in a way we did promote. So the homepage of the parliament, they translate to different languages. If you go, for instance, today in the homepage of the Swedish Parliament, you will find it's in translation in Albanian, how it functions, how democracy functions. It's in Serbo-Croat Bosnian as well. It's in Macedonian and major other languages that are being spoken in the Balkans, including Turkish, for instance, because Turkey is also a candidate country to join EU, formally, at least.
That is a great thing. And in fact, I mean, when we talk most of the time about the region, I think if we are talking about an imaginary place, then everybody agrees. But then when you say, well, how about in your country? Then some of them may say this is in violation of constitution. How is that resolved? How is that perceived in Sweden?
I don't know. I know Sweden cannot be compared to the Balkan countries. We haven't had a war for 200 years. Comparing to the Balkans. But I try to compare for Lithuania, for instance. I was involved in Lithuania as well, promoting the EU integration when I was a student still. In Lithuania, they used the language of the minority a bit of everywhere when the need was there. So, for instance, if I take Kosovo, where you're sitting now, if I may do it.
Please do. We want examples.
Yes, what do you say?
We want examples, as many examples as possible.
All right, good. Comparing to the constitution that you guys have down there, or the law, the legal aspect I'm talking about, not the implementation. The legal aspect of the minority rights in Kosovo is much better, democratically better, than, for instance, of some of the Baltic countries with regards to their minorities. I know this for sure. It's not just wording. If you compare the constitution of your country with the constitution of some present member states of European Union, I'm sure the difference would be much bigger than you think or anyone thinks. This would be a note for people who are still studying. I finished my university some years ago, but perhaps for the one who are still continuing the studies. For instance, in Sweden, if I may go back, I live here. We have the minority. There are 5 minorities, and they are able to use the language whenever they want. But it's not like the minorities stands for 10%, 5%. It depends on the needs. But usually, majority of the people, in order to make their life easier, all of them, they speak Swedish. It's not because they are forced to, it's because they want to ease their life.
Sure.
It's not like many people use, because we have a Roma as a minority according to Swedish constitution. It's not that anyone is using a Romani language. No, everyone is using Swedish, but it is there. But the reason why people tend to adapt themselves or integrate in the society where they live is because they want to ease their own life.
Okay, on that note, what do you think are the opportunities and challenges that if those, let's say, are captured, are built on, or overcome, that could ensure a greater role, a more prominent role of diaspora in the region?
Well, the opportunities, I should say, they are huge. However, what I would like to highlight in order to see, understand, and use those opportunities, implement them in the living, I would highlight that the civil society of the Western Balkan countries, let's put aside the government, I'm talking about the civil society, they should involve more diaspora groups which do promote regional cooperation, because not all the diaspora groups, regardless of which country they're from, they promote regional cooperation. Some of them, they think because of it's understandable why, they escape because of the conflict, so they think about their own ethnicity. Perhaps it would be good to find, usually among young people, among women organizations, and the one with people with disabilities. These three organizations, also in diaspora, they tend to think more about compromises, about regional cooperation. So I would highlight that, please, Balkan Forum and all other NGOs promoting regional cooperation, do try to have a common gathering, let's say a common conference on regular basis or event, where you can exchange the experiences of each other and see ways to use us and your network to build bridges of cooperation with the Balkan countries. At the same time, we build cooperation with the young organization gathering young people or women or people with disabilities. And in the same time, we promote more stability and development in the Western Balkan countries. If the governments are not listening, the politicians, you can act on your own. You have a direct access to Brussels. So please use that opportunity and try to have common gatherings. It doesn't have to be in one place, it can be different places. However, there are funds also provided by European Union, functioning one.
Do you think that we are sufficiently effectively utilizing what the diaspora can contribute to the region? Or do you think that most of the times, diaspora is working on their own, but not very well connected with the, let's say, civil society or governments of the region? I think it's a both-way road. On one hand, governments and civil society here should be engaging more with diaspora and businesses as well,
Yes.
academia, experts, and so on. But on the other hand, it requires a step forward or even more from the diaspora. And do you think that is working and it is being utilized by the region as a resource?
Before I answer if diaspora is being utilized by the region, I have to go back to the question that you put earlier regarding the challenges. I forgot, sorry.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to say that the challenges that the diaspora would face would be the acceptance of the decision makers in the Western Balkan countries toward or willingness and or expertise in order to improve the people's life. It's not that we would come there as being colonial powers or colonial experts to try to remove people from the chairs, if I may say, so that means political positions. It's like we come there of free will. We are not forced to do it. We have our lives very much guaranteed, economically, democratically, socially, culturally, in all aspects. So we don't have to come to the Western Balkan countries. They should welcome us instead. That's why I took Croatia. So a challenge would be to the civil society, we should try to convince the political decision makers to use diaspora other than promoting their own political agenda. Now, I can go back to the second question. Utilizing, well, to a certain aspect, yes. It could be, for instance, promoting investments. With regard to promoting investments, I think much more can be done. But however, I know that certain countries have done quite much on that aspect. For instance, I know Serbia, I know Kosovo is doing a lot, Croatia did a lot, Romania nowadays are trying, Moldova, for instance, they are not candidate country or potential candidate, they have an agreement with the European Union, but they do have large agency for diaspora issues, and they try to handpick experts on diaspora who can promote a sustainable, democratic, and economical approach to the development and the needs of Moldova, like a bridge builder.
Okay.
So I think more can be done and should be done. Once again, I have to say then that when you talk about diaspora, it's not like we are a unique body and all of us saying the same. There are first generation diaspora, there are second generation diaspora, the one which are born the Western democracies. Some of them, they don't even speak the mother tongue. However, they are there during the summers, yes, because parties and everything. One way to utilize is to win the hearts, if I may call it that, of these youngsters, the second or third generation of diaspora. Have as more festivals, cultural festivals, and also festivals promoting regional cooperation, not only solely the
arts and music and culture.
So have the regional cooperation feeling, because If you listen to the first generation diaspora, not all of them, but majority, the opinions are more grounded what happened before. You know, they had their own way of thinking. I told you earlier, we are not machines, we are human beings. So, of course, we are affected by what happens in the Balkans. Try to use the second and third generation diaspora. And you can do it by promoting something that unites people, not something that makes them look apart.
If there is one word, one sentence to basically say to the peoples of the region or the diaspora,
yes,
what would that be from your side?
For the people of the region, I would say think forward. I would say 200% think forward. Do not allow the hate to be the guide toward further development and approach of your own life or the society where you live or the country that you represent. That would be one of my main messages. And the second one would be, if all of you guys, for real, talking about for real, seriously, if you want to join European Union, think that in European Union there is no place for borders. Right? For instance, it's impossible to understand all the obstacles they put in the borders between the Balkan countries, the remaining one, which are not members of European Union. Remove them, you win nothing. You have to remove those one day or another. And shortly, this book I have to share with you. It's being written by Heidi. Heidi Frey, is a survivor from Auschwitz. She's 93 years old. Last year, I was involved and invited by the Swedish Minister of European Questions. She invited me to talk about why we need to continue the expanding European Union with the Western Balkan countries. And she was there to talk about why the European Union was created. It was then, it is now. It's about peace. So if you really are serious, meaning about peace, cooperate more with each other. Look at the future. Reality is the one that we have now. And second, please, all the organizations working with youth empowerment, gender empowerment, and supporting people with disabilities, unite your efforts. When you unite your efforts, you will get much more success than you ever think about. Altogether, women, 50% of one society or one country in the Balkans, regardless which country. Young people, they are most probably 60%. People with disabilities, maybe 5 to 10%. Altogether, you are 80%. So unite your efforts. You have support and contact us in the diaspora. We are very keen to support you. We are very keen to cooperate more. We are open for cooperation. Use us.
And we will. We have a dialogue here, but not dialogue between the diasporas of the region who live wherever they are. Then I don't think we are going to accomplish our mission. So thanks very much indeed, and then we'll be in touch again.
Thank you. Looking forward to cooperation. Thank you. All the best.
Thanks. Dear friends, stay with us, and we'll be in touch with you shortly with new interviews and debates.